Texas Governor Rick Perry adding to state lawmakers' special session agenda. He's introducing a measure criminalizing enhanced pat-downs by the TSA at airports in the Lone Star State. A similar bill died last month in the legislature. It would make such searches punishable by up to a year in prison and a $400,000 fine. Are you kidding me? Is prompter right? Really? That's shocking. Okay, time to let the Willis watchdogs out. Yu-Dee Chang is the chief trader and sole principal at Ace Investments. Kelly Bingle is a Democratic strategist, and Andy Levy is an ombudsman for Red Eye on the Fox News channel. Kelly, let's start with you.
Well, I mean, anybody who's traveled with children and had to take a sleeping child out of a baby carriage has to cheer any attempts to sort of reduce the restraints on the everyday folk who go through airport security. Nonetheless, there is this little thing called the supremacy clause in the U.S. Constitution. So there are some legal issues for Governor Perry, but you know, obviously he's thinking about running for president. I got to figure this is a political move.
Yu-Dee, what do you say?
I'm really mixed on this matter. On one hand, I really hate big government take away my rights to work, take away my choice for education, and of course, take away my privacy. But on the other hand, she's right. I mean, this is Article 6 of the Constitution, where I think he's fighting a losing battle. However, he might win some populist support from the Tea Party. Maybe he'll become the 10th candidate of the Republican Party.
All right, I have to correct something here. I said the fee would be $400,000. Not true. $4,000 makes a whole lot more sense. Andy?
Yeah, I think Yu-Dee and Kelly are probably both right about the supremacy clause, but it'll be interesting to see if how the courts rule if this bill does pass, because the supremacy clause says that the Constitution and federal statutes are the law of the land. It doesn't say anything about federal agencies. So it'll be an interesting question whether a state can, in effect, overrule a federal agency. So we'll see what happens.
That's an interesting debate. Okay. All right. We have to talk about this. More ridiculous fees from the airlines. Spirit is adding a $5 fee if a gate agent has to print your boarding pass. That's right. And a $1 fee if you use a kiosk. They want you to print your boarding pass at home. What's next? Charging for landing gear on the plane, Yu-Dee? Where are we going with this?
Boy, this is a tough one. But we are talking about Spirit Airlines, right? So they are the masters or the pioneers of airline fees and the masters of publicity stunts. Remember the Wiener sales that they had on. So I think it's kind of crazy personally, but I think that's the way to be. By the way, how strong are our bladders by the airlines start charging the usage fee for restrooms? Maybe $5 for the first use and $2.50 for each subsequent use.
I think they already do. There's one airline that already charges you, amazingly so.
Yeah, I don't agree with Yu-Dee. Here's my thing. If airlines want to charge for extra things, let them. If they want to charge for extra bags, if they want to charge for meals, because then the way it works is if you want those things, you pay for them, and the people who don't want those things don't have to pay for them. I think that's a lot more fair than charging everyone more money because some people might want to take advantage of those things.
If those fees were actually linked to the cost of what they were selling, but I think all the costs are actually going up.
Oh, you mean the price of the actual ticket? Well, that's entirely possible too. But I don't have no problem with this sort of a la carte way of flying. You pay a base fare, and then if you want other things, you pay those.
Dessert with that? Okay, Kelly, what do you say?
Well, just keep in mind that Spirit was the first to charge us for baggage fees. So the real question in my mind is, what are the other airlines going to do? Are they going to follow suit? In which case, what about those folks that don't have a computer printer at home and can't print their baggage or their boarding passes?
Good point. All right. You got to hear this one. A new study from Columbia University says if you're too relaxed when you go shopping, you're likely to overpay. It says the more relaxed you are, the more likely to desire a product that's impractical, too. What do you think of this, Yu-Dee? This sounds pretty crazy to me.
Actually, it makes sense. From my wife's shopping habits, she must be the most relaxed person in the world. But I think it probably makes sense. That's why I walk into Starbucks. I'm willing to pay $5 because I'm listening to the elevator music for coffee that I could get it for $1, or I'm getting free some champagne at Neiman Marcus that I'm willing to pay some overpriced for the clothing I buy there. So it probably makes sense that the more relaxed you are, the more you're willing to spend.
Kelly, you agree?
Absolutely. My husband loves for me to shop actually more than I do, and so he always asks my friends to take me out and buy a drink first. Certainly, the more relaxed you are, the more you're going to spend. I don't see any problem with that.
Yeah, I have a little bit of personal experience with this. Back in December, I had some wrist surgery. and spent a little bit of time taking some painkillers for them and feeling very, very relaxed. And I have no idea how much money I spent at iTunes and Amazon. All I know is I think I have 4,900 apps on my iPad, including I have cooking apps, and I don't cook. So.
You're the test case. You're the canary in the coal mine.
Absolutely.
You prove the rule.
Yep.
All right, well. A lifeless body, a scarred mouth, and a blackened lung. Ugh. Are among the graphic images. Are we going to see these? I hope not. In a new set of cigarette warnings. The U.S. government says these warnings will occupy the top half of the front and rear panels, that is, of cigarette packs, and the top 20% of cigarette ads. They will first appear in September 2012. Andy, you're shaking your head.
Well, I'm sure this comes as a huge shock to you, but I'm just sick of this stuff. Cigarettes are a legal product. As long as they're a legal product, I don't see how they can be this heavily regulated. The whole thing is ridiculous. I'm all for companies being punished if they lied and withheld evidence the way the cigarette companies have. But the truth is out there now. Everyone knows cigarettes are bad for you. It's now up to individuals to decide whether or not they care about that. And this stuff has to stop. It's just ridiculous.
Yu-Dee, what do you say?
Well, you think you gotta satisfy your own moral conscience, right? Basically, we've known that for 50 years that cigarettes may kill you, and so people knows already. So by putting that on, it's not gonna help. But again, it's a good thing they're doing. I guess there's so much cost associated with the health benefit or the health cost of the cigarette smoking. So it's not bad trying to get people to quit smoking. But I don't think by putting that on, it's going to do anything at all. If anything, just outlaw the entire thing, which you can't do because the economic benefit way outweighs the so-called health benefits, right? So it's kind of sad.
Well, Kelly, I'm wondering if young kids will be more inclined to smoke because that's parents and everybody else.
It's a great question. My kids are 7 and 10, and whenever they see somebody smoking, they say, "Mommy, that person's smoking." That generation, I think, is so programmed against the health risks of smoking that there's just no chance they're going to smoke. So really my question is, half a pack? Why aren't we going to put that label across the whole pack? Perhaps it's overreach, but I think most folks, as your other guests have said, understand the health risks of smoking, and I'm hopeful that my kids' generation are not going to smoke. They understand the risks, and certainly the health costs are way too high.
If you just have to smoke to understand the risks. You can feel what it's doing.
Yeah, I like it a lot better when a parent like Kelly teaches her kids that smoking is bad than when the government steps in and does it like this. At some point it has to stop.
Probably more effective.
Yeah, I would think so.
All right, Yu-Dee, Kelly, Andy, thanks so much for your help today. Great job, everybody.
Enjoyed it. Take care.
Think you can't run your business like Pepsi or Doritos? Think again. Some big time